o'clock in the morning here in Hong Kong, and no sign of the situation changing overnight and indeed this morning. They are back out on the streets for another day. They are tired, but they are defiant. They're issuing, typically today, an important message to the authorities here in Hong Kong, calling directly for the Chief Executive, CY Leung, to step down and saying if he does not, protesters here will storm government buildings. That could be the turning point today, which is another day off. The public holiday here continues. People are indeed off work and off school. And it's important to say that where we are in the financial district, yes, the protesters are present like they have been since the weekend. But demonstrations have also moved into other parts of Hong Kong City as well. To the north, the closest point to mainland China, Shuang Shui in the New Territories, has also been reporting demonstrations. And overnight as well, the Reuters news agency are saying that around 2,000 demonstrators were reported to be in the shopping district of Tsim Sha Tsui last night. So that's adding to the presence that is already here tonight. And as day begins and the morning light beckons, yes, they are tired, but they are resilient. I'm not sure if you can see the crowd that has gathered just to the right of me, the other side of where we are here. Actually more vocal than they were when we were here this time yesterday morning. But National Day was of course marked yesterday, and as the BBC's China editor Carrie Gracie has been finding out, the protesters were defiant on this historic day.
It's National Day, but there's not a Chinese flag in sight. 65 years ago, Chairman Mao said the Chinese people had stood up. Hong Kong and a new generation, standing up for a different revolution. To see the Chinese flag on National Day, you had to come here. A ceremony to remind Hong Kong that however different its way of life, it's still part of China. She tells me it's a day to celebrate national unity. But disunity made its presence felt. Everyone here only too aware of what was going on just outside. In Beijing, there was no interruption of the Communist Revolution's made-for-TV anniversary. No pictures of Hong Kong's protesters or of the 20 mainland sympathizers detained. Nothing to ruffle stability. This is no longer a party, a revolution. It's the establishment. Hong Kong wants one man, one vote, but President Xi Jinping already has it. He's the man, and his is the only vote that counts. Not for long if they have their way. They're threatening to occupy government buildings. Is this movement now too big to fail?
He says no compromise. They won't go home unless Hong Kong's leader resigns and China drops its But China won't give in either. It feels it can't, otherwise it will get this on the mainland.
We just need to keep our momentum of the government of democracy, and now the whole world is watching, looking at Hong Kong and enjoying.
No one here ever imagined that so many of them would be prepared to break the law for the idea of freedom. No wonder the impossible now seems possible. On the anniversary of one Chinese revolution, there's talk of another. Carrie Gracie, BBC News, Hong Kong.
So that was the situation on day one of this public holiday, National Day yesterday. Day two is today. We are expecting numbers to swell somewhat more than they are at the moment, later on this morning into the afternoon and indeed the evening. But the whole world is watching what is unfolding here in Hong Kong. There have been responses, particularly to a lot of the images that are being sent across social media networks. Those images going viral, calling this the Umbrella Revolution. Well, important to point out that within the last last 2 or 3 hours or so, US Secretary of State John Kerry has been talking about the situation here in Hong Kong. That's been ahead of a meeting with China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Now, he called on the authorities in Hong Kong to show restraint on the pro-democracy demonstrators in the territory after days of protests here. Interesting to point out that his comments, US Secretary of State John Kerry's comments, were met with a response from Mr. Wang, the Foreign Secretary for China, which showed that on this point it was not a meeting of minds. This is what he had to say a short time ago.
As China knows, we support universal suffrage in Hong Kong according with the basic law, and we believe an open society with the highest possible degree of autonomy and governed by rule of law is essential for Hong Kong's stability and prosperity. And we have high hopes that the Hong Kong authorities will exercise restraint and respect the protesters' right to express their views peacefully.
The Chinese government has very firmly and clearly stated its position. Hong Kong affairs are China's internal affairs. All countries should respect China's sovereignty. And this is also a basic principle governing international relations. I believe for any country, for any society, no one will allow those illegal acts that public order.
Wang Yi there, the Foreign Minister for China, in response to those comments from US Secretary of State John Kerry, calling on the authorities here to show restraint when dealing with the protesters. Well, we are now into, day 7 of these protests. Joining me now is one of the demonstrators, Anthony, who's been here since the weekend.
Yes, from Sunday.
How are you feeling?
I feel really angry for the government, especially civilian.
Still angry?
Yeah.
Still tired?
Exhausted and tired, really.
So how long are you going to keep this up for?
Maybe as long as I can. Maybe 2 more days we cannot afford it. Because every day we sleep only for 1 or 2 hours and we come out to protect our country, protect our city.
Yeah, we got a sense yesterday that there's definitely like a shift operation between you guys. You know, loads of you go home having been here overnight, then a new batch of demonstrators come in the afternoon. Are you about to head home?
Yes, but you know, every morning there's only a few protesters in this area. It is the most easiest way for the police to get out our fence or everything that protected our place.
Today, the activists representing yourselves, well, I presume, have said that, you know what, if CY Leung doesn't resign, they're going to occupy government buildings. That's what they said today.
Yes.
Are you going to do that?
I don't think it is really a good method because going to that place to protest is only a way for him to make an excuse to arrest us all and use even higher only maybe the tear gas to
provoke the authorities against it. Okay, Anthony, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate your time. Anthony, one of the demonstrators that's been here, as Anthony was saying, since Sunday, and it could be a turning point depending on how the protesters react today and how the authorities do as well. But as we were just saying a little earlier, this is all being played out on social media with the hashtag Umbrella Revolution. Here's a short guide now to how